Okay, found it. In the midst of their escape from Fort Lenadia and the Undying Empire, the Gale's gift disappeared from the Bronze Hollow Valley and carried a few hundred fleeing gray folk into the desert. The bridge spanned from a haunted warehouse on a mesa to a shrine of mirrors over the town of Ne'erburn, south of the sanctuary of the Veracqui. Despite the scarcity of water and disturbances coinciding with the fall of the sanctuary, the people of Ne'erburn welcomed their new neighbors with characteristic hospitality. The people on the bridge began to make themselves homes. The people of the town began to contain the blasted lands where the final confrontation between the executors and the inscrutable took place. And together, they began the work of living well in a hostile world.
Rob, acting for Overton, your card. Ready?
Yeah.
The 10 of spring. If I say, oh, this is a good one, you're going to like it, I'm going to say that every time because they're all good. So just assume that I said that. Feel free to clip in a soundbite of me saying that every time I pull. There's another community somewhere on the map. Where are they? What sets them apart from you? So this would be a third community.
Yeah.
Or what belief or practice helps to unify your community? You're acting for Overton.
Yeah. We're taking big, weird swings.
Yes! We fucking love them!
I am so glad everyone else is being weird today because my weird's broken apparently.
We got
So-
you, boo. It's not broken. It just you distributed it.
Warehouse
Sleepies.
haunted as hell.
Correct.
Because when you are in there, you fall asleep and you never wake up, and all the things you have are still on you because your body doesn't go away. And people who have like gone in during the day to try and like retrieve those things have noticed that they have been upkept, or like small projects that were carried on them are finished, and there are just like minor details that have been fixed up. And so with some experimentation people of the bridge are like, oh, if we leave, like, if you leave, like, oh man, I sure do wish I could fix my shoes up, and you leave the materials to do so, if there are some broken shoes, like some ratty old shoes that need to be fixed up, and the materials to do so, after the night, they'll be fixed up.
Holy shit!
Now, the people of the bridge haven't figured out any way to communicate with the warehouse or whatever entity may or may not be a part of it, but it becomes a pretty central part of daily life, I think, of like, what kinds of projects can we load into this warehouse and hope we'll be able to complete? Like, that becomes like part of the logistics of Overton in these years.
Oh god, that is so fucking cool. How do we add an abundance? Can we just add one when we feel like it?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
We created a new abundance.
Feel like that creates an abundance of productivity.
I was gonna say labor.
I was gonna say haunted helpers.
Haunted helpers.
We have to do haunted helper.
Oh yeah, haunted helpers. I love that.
So this might fully be nothing,
Mm-hmm.
but this does remind me of one of the things that Rob wasn't here for, because I keep forgetting Rob wasn't there for Sanctuary. So to get Rob back up, the enemy that they fought were like unknowable creatures with no definitive form that like stole knowledge and like replicated things, but like improperly or whatever.
Uh-huh. Interesting.
Lex, you sneaky bastard.
Who's to say?
Oh, yes.
So like they aren't necessarily connected. My brain's like, what if they are?
Well, what if they were?
If they're unknowable beings, who says there's not two kinds?
We named them the inscrutable. Like,
Yeah, the inscrutable fed on the knowledge carried through your blood, essentially.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Oh my god.
Like they needed the knowledge water from your blood.
yeah, they drink knowledge like we drink water. That was their thing.
Love it.
I am very into this. Okay, I think that's so cool. So first of all, we adjust the dice. So there is a perimeter around the blasted lands, and the housing project has 1 more year before it's complete. Your action, Rob. Discover something new, hold a discussion, or start a project.
All right. We're having a discussion, people.
We need to talk.
We need to talk.
Let me really quick read the rule for that.
Yeah.
Because this is one that people often get wrong. You can choose to open with a question or a statement. Starting from you and going clockwise, each player gets to weigh in once with a single statement of 1 to 2 sentences. If you opened with a question, you weigh in last. If you opened with a statement, that's it. A discussion never results in a decision being made. Everyone weighs in and then it's over. This is how conversations work in communities. They are untidy and inconclusive affairs. Each discussion is tied to a situation on the map. When the discussion ends, mark the situation with a small dot. So Rob, you may begin with a statement or a question, and it is about a situation on the map. Yes, Lex.
Is it for the discussion we are inventing a new situation, or is it an existing one, or either?
It is an existing situation, and you are like people of the communities at like a town hall, and like you like imagine you're just getting up and then you say a couple of things and then you sit back down.
Considering we don't even know how long we'll be here, it seems clear that only one of these communities can survive for a long period of time. Which one are we going to support?
We're going clockwise. I am also an Overtonian. It is not our place to decide. We are at the mercy of the traveling god. All we need do is pluck along best we can, and then the decision will be made for us.
Your traveling god is unfamiliar to us here, although travel is not without side of our realm. It is important to us here in Ne'erburn that when knowledge is presented to you, it is treated as a gift and that it is shared. And so we believe that we have things that we ought to share with you, and you have things that you can share with us. However long you happen to be here comes and goes in its own time, but make the most of the time that you have while you're in the place that you're in.
I think the answer's simple. For as long as you are here, you are part of our community. So we are one community, and we'll work together as best we can to ensure we all thrive.
Your platitudes are heartwarming, to be assured. And your welcoming is very comforting after what we've seen, but that does not solve the problem of needing water to survive. And there are simply too many of us.
Perhaps it is time to do what we have done many times in the past. We can send people on to other places. We can send them off to return the guardians to their homes and perhaps take some of your people with them. You say it's not enough to survive, but there are other places people could go.
It would seem to me we are currently 2 communities with vigils we would rather not leave behind for our own reasons. I simply would not want the collapse of your home once we depart be on our conscience if we cannot leave you in a position where you are self-sufficient after the damage you have faced.
And that's it. That's the discussion. Also, I've played this game many times. I think that might be the best hold a discussion I've ever experienced. That was wonderful.
Let's go.
Everybody, way to go. That was awesome.
It's been awesome.
Shout out to Emily for saying fuck you.
Yeah. Shout out to Emily for being
All
a
the
hater.
people being nice.
Hey,
I love
being
it.
nice and saying
So
nice
much.
things doesn't make the water appear. I wish
That's
it would. I
true.
wish it would.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Okay. Zad, it is your turn. Are you ready?
Hit me with it.
The 9 of spring. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I keep doing that. I'm like, yes, let's go. I just get really excited. A charismatic young girl convinces many to help her with an elaborate scheme. What is it? Who joins her endeavors? Start a project to reflect this. Or, a charismatic young girl tries to tempt many into sinful or dangerous activity. Why does she do this? How does the community respond?
Man.
I know, it's kind of unfair.
Well, sinful activity is always funny to me. Oh man, Ghost Girl trying to get people to go party in the warehouse is a fun idea from the chat here. We're 3 years in, right?
Yes, this is the 4th year.
Something that people see outside of Ne'erburn. They look up towards the giant sundial and they see this small figure that will just kind of show up there most days. Somebody goes out and is like, "Hey, hello, what are you doing?" And there's this kid there with a fish inside of a glass ball. And she says, "Well, you see, I've got a bunch of water and my home here is flooding and I want it to go somewhere. And I heard that y'all didn't have enough water. And so here I'm digging this trench. I decided that Lightning Jim and I decided that we're gonna dig this trench from my place here that I live in, with just me and Lightning Jim. So we're gonna dig this trench that's gonna go all the way down to you guys so that you can have the water, because we don't really need it anymore. So here, do you want to help?" That's the project, which is, on the one hand, a good public works, and on the other hand, it is sinful.
Just vaguely sacrilegious.
It is a little sacrilegious, you're right, but this is, yeah, I suppose. Lex made a quick comment. Did we just trans the kid's gender as a bonus action? Was their gender nebulous? I think we may have been using he, him pronouns for the kid, but honestly, I don't
The
think...
kid's a girl now.
Yeah, kid's a girl now. It's fine.
It's a girl now.
It's not a big deal.
Look, the reason I typed it was to not say it on the recording.
I think it was actually a really good point.
I was going to mention that the kid is now officially a girl, so
Yeah,
it's done good, pal.
That's game woven, baby.
that's a game weave right there.
We trans your gender as a bonus action.
How long will this take, Zad?
I think in order to, like, this is just going to solve the water problem. And so I think that it's going to take 3 years. Because, like, you know, the engineer, Brockwee, was still kicking around and is like, "Oh, hey, yeah, no, we could just, like, construct an aqueduct." And they need to locate materials, which is difficult due to the lack of trade.
Yep.
And it's, like, kind of a massive labor undertaking. But what it will do is it will solve the water problems. So I'm going to call that one a 3-year project.
So it's not necessarily a 3-year like you could knock this out in a month if you just dug a long hole, but they're doing
Quick
like
and
they're
dirty.
making it like really nice.
They're making sure it'll actually stick and be able to transport water
Yeah.
for the foreseeable future and not just a week.
I mean, they might also do the quick and dirty version just for like short term, but also having a long term solution of something reliable.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's specifically an aqueduct, yeah?
Yep, they're making an aqueduct that will take water to... Hey, you know what, fuck it. It's going to go all the way to the well.
Let's go.
Because where else are you going to keep this overflowing abundance of water coming out?
We will adjust the die. Ba-ba-da-ba. Overton has housing now. And now, Zad, you get to take an action. You can discover something new, hold a discussion, or if you want, you can start another project.
I think I would like to discover something new.
Yes, let's go.
Which is, while exploring, because like they've got the housing and then the mirror shrine, and now that there's an easy way to get up to the mirror shrine, people are like, well, what if we just, kept climbing? And so what they've found is up on the mountain here, they've found an observatory.
Let's go.
Yeah, big telescope, or not like even a particularly big telescope, but like it gives such a good vantage of the desert and also the night sky. And I think it has like telescopes, which is a very, very strange technology to be seeing here. And that's like pretty high up in this mountain. Like above the tree line, but before it gets terrible.
I'm imagining the telescopes are like really rudimentary, but they're giant. Big brass rings holding these giant lenses that maybe sort of move reliquary style. And I'm wondering, tell me if you like this. On the days where those beams of light connect, that's when like they line up the most clear.
Yeah. Let's just go with that. Like it is, you can always use it to look at stuff, but you can see a lot further and a lot more clearly and in very specific areas on the days where the mirrors are aligning or the beams are lined out.
Yeah.
Perhaps it was built by people trying to discover what these mirrors were doing, pointing to.
Could be.
So, because I went to an eye appointment literally today, this is making me just live in fear of the absolute like health hazard of having obnoxiously bright lights and a telescope in the same place.
They invent sunglasses really quickly.
People have for sure blinded themselves since they found this.
Yeah.
For sure. I will say though, because when we were in Arizona, Mom and I went on a little night hike thing at the nearby national park, and I've never seen the night sky as clearly as I did in the middle of the desert, staring up at the sky. It's gorgeous.
That's because light pollution.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't have another way to end the sentence. That's because light pollution.
Yep.
That's
Like I said something profound. Like what?
so we've got a dope ass observatory, which is just sending my heart aflutter. I love an observatory, y'all. All right, here we go. My poll.
It's a good one. You're gonna love this.
Someone new arrives who two of the community's younger members get into a fight. What provoked them? I'm going to do the second one. Two young men, like we're talking like working age teenagers, like 16 or 17, get in a life-threatening fist fight. And one of them is from Ne'erburn, and one of them is Overtonian. Also, this young Ne'erburn man, he is Veracqui. And the crux of the fight is that this young Veracqui thinks that the Overtonians are a burden on their community, and they're not helping, they're not contributing, they're a waste, they're using what little stone and water are currently there and building houses on a stupid bridge. It's a waste of time. They're getting people killed in the stupid warehouse. Like, they're screwing everything up, and they're useless. They're attending classes in the university, and they're way behind. They just can't keep up at all. Like, this guy, literally, he sees the Overtonians as a huge burden. It turns into a massive fight, and I think it starts to cause some friction as a camp emerges among Ne'erburn that would like the Overtonians to either assimilate or leave immediately. It hasn't quite gotten to the point where hospitality is no longer in abundance, but like I think it could get there if we nudged it. But yeah, it's there's some animosity forming on the Ne'erburn side.
I love tension.
Yes, the tension.
Yes, good.
And I think they're both working on the aqueduct. And I think one of the big things is that there is obviously probably 10 times more people from Ne'erburn working on the aqueduct than from Overton, because Ne'erburn just has way more people. and
Mm-hmm.
this guy is just getting sick of it. He would have been like 12 or 13 when Overton showed up, and it was literally like the day after like the worst day of his life. And then all these people show up asking for help. Like, he is being incredibly unreasonable, but like you could also see where the pain comes from. It's coming from a place of hurt, you know? Yeah.
I wonder if there are some whispers in the camp of what if there's a connection between that worst day ever and these strangers.
Oh no, I'll bet there is.
You know there's gotta be some whispers there.
There's gotta be people who are likening them to the Inscrutables, right? Like they've just shown up and they're just, absorbing all this knowledge and water and resources. What are they giving to the community? Truly, what have the Romans ever done for us?
It's giving inscrutable.
It is giving it, and they're up there. They're desecrating our shrines that we never go to.
They're messing with the warehouse you're not supposed to ever go in.
Yeah.
That does sound like something very Zolowin.
Oh yeah.
Find a cursed warehouse and be like, sick.
Very Zalo coded, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's giving.
Like,
Zolo.
curses are fine if you just follow the steps. There's his guidelines.
You just gotta figure out
Figure 'em
the
out.
rules of the curse. It's okay.
Exactly.
Also, like, with this bridge came, like, straight up fucking werewolves and shit. Like, they can't be.
There's absolutely like a significant portion of Grey Folk.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was a Grey Folk prison break.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah,
half
like the
these people are
majority of the
werewolves.
Overtonians would be Grey Folk in my head.
Which we, like, retroactively made, like, werewolf adjacent. Because we were dancing around and I went, fuck it, they're werewolves.
They're all just bestial. Some are werewolves.
there were some things.
I had Zara a little bit more feline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It probably just varies from person to person.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's some tension. We've got some tension mounting. I want to throw a contempt on there from Ne'erburn. We haven't been throwing contempt around much, so I'm throwing some contempt on it. If anyone else would like to join me.
Hey, Ben, remind us, what does contempt mean and do?
Contempt just represents the total amount of friction in the communities or between the communities. Mechanically, you total it up at the end and kind of see how you think the community does when the game ends.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna throw in two, one for now and one from that discussion I started, because I feel like that would have been a great time. So I'll bring us to 3.
The Aqueduct project ticks down 1.
Man, I really should have started 2 projects. I like projects.
They are fun. But that's okay.
Now we have this really dope observatory.
Yeah.
I am going to discover something new. While experimenting with the mountain shrine and the observatory, on one of the days when the light is strongest, but it is pointing to the south, we'll say, one of the Overtonians, because Overtonians are very curious. I think, honestly, like, people from Zalo are just naturally really curious about figuring out the mechanics of curses and weird anomalies, just because that's what they've, culturally, that's what they grow up around all the time. One of the Overtonians take a piece of sheet metal and waves it in front of the beam of light that's being sent out to the south and sends a Morse code signal. And what does she get back but an answer from somewhere in the south, an observatory in the south? So they discover that they can start communicating by Morse code one day of the month to 11 different places, and they start doing this constantly, trying to figure out what's going on in the world and potentially saying, hey, come here, bring goods, we have things, please start coming here.
So many questions. I love it.
I know, it's fun. I don't know if that gets rid of the trade scarcity, but it might if we act on it.
That feels like it
Good.
could.
I think that can get rid of one of the scarcities, but I think it's either knowledge of the area or trade.
Ooh. Which do we think?
Trade.
You think trade?
Yeah, I don't think that I think we still have a lot more to learn about the area that we're living in.
Yeah, I think trade is now. I think that starts to drive caravans to Ne'erburn. Just this little rudimentary communication, and they reach out to a whole bunch. And I think they're all desert kingdoms. Like they're all desert cities. And this used to be part of like these places used to be part of like a network.
And then the inscrutables.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe if we were to like really reach into the deep lore, maybe what happened was there used to be a desert kingdom, and they communicated through these mirrors back and forth to each other, and then the inscrutable, God knows how many hundreds of years ago, fucked everything up. Things are coming back together now that the inscrutable are wiped out. That was fun. I had fun with that one.
But that's a hell of a discovery. I love this.
Big one.
Big swings, big swing.
Big swings. Speaking of big swings, Lex, it's your poll.
Oh.
What important and basic tools does the community lack? Or where are you storing your food? Why is it a risky place to store things?
Ooh. I could come up with something for the food. Let me stare intently at the map for a minute.
And I believe one of our primary food sources is the honey from flying scorpions.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that-
for sure.
Yes.
It's scarce. It isn't. That's the
Uh-huh.
problem.
Oh, right.
The problem
Uh-huh.
is it not. It could be.
So, the scorpions' natural inclination of where to set up like their hives is find a high point, build the thing in the shade of something like high and shaded. Now there's a giant bridge. So directly under the bridge is now just a bunch of these hives full of the scorpions.
I am going to add a contempt on behalf of Overton. I think they hate this.
Yeah, that sucks. That
they're
straight up
just-
just
just like-
blows.
Yeah, because I feel like the Ne'erburn, they know how to deal with these more or less. Like they know how to avoid being like angering them, but the people from Overton are just like, wait, what am I supposed to do with this?
It also depends on just how many of them appear, because you'll note that the bridge is directly over the center of Ne'erburn. So there's suddenly a bunch of these appearing in the middle of town where they weren't before.
So the thing I was thinking was the reason they're scarce is because the bridge like wildly disrupted their like habitat.
Oh,
So they were an abundant food source. Bridge happened, and so like there was a place they already lived, and like they knew how to farm them there, and then the bridge fucked it. And now the only way to farm them is to do some bungee jumping shit over the edge of the bridge.
Like rappel over the side of the bridge, which is dangerous.
Yeah,
which
so,
means
I would also like to add a contempt for Overton for that.
another contempt for Overton. Yeah, because now not only are there flying scorpions using the bridge, the bottom of the bridge as a habitat, there's also Ne'erburners coming up, and like farming the goddamn scorpion jelly.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a contempt away from Ne'erburn because this fucking rules. We got it back. We got it back, y'all.
Not everyone in Ne'erburn likes it because the people who like Overton are like, oh great, this is food for everyone. And the people who don't like Overton are like, ha, you fucking scorpion, idiot.
Fucking scorpioned.
Yeah, get scorpioned.
and so I also think the scarcity is less that there isn't enough, and more that getting it sucks ass.
Yeah, we gotta find a safer way to do this.
Under a bridge.
Does this make it reabundant now?
I still think there isn't a safe way to get it, so I'm gonna say it's still scarce.
The scarcity
Okay.
is safe. It's like safely acquirable scorpion jelly.
Yeah.
All right, we will adjust the die. Where are we at on the aqueduct?
There's one turn remaining on the aqueduct.
All right. Lex, you may take an action, discover something new, hold a discussion, start a project.
I'm gonna discover something new. But in fact, it is also something old. In that,
What?
the Overtonians, over time, because they live by these two shrines, some of them see that shit every day. And at some point, I think one of the more learned ones who knows the history of Zalo very well recognizes whoever the shrine is to, which is just an alternate name for DeGale.
Oh. Just like, oh, hi. This is our god.
So it's literally a shrine to the traveling god, but under a different name.
Yeah. Which can be an explanation as why they came here.
Could be.
I'm going to remove a contempt from Overton.
Yeah.
That discovery, I think, changes a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I'm gonna remove a second contempt because that has gotta be like 6 years. You've been living in the desert after being on top of a river, right? There are scorpions underneath your homes, and now you realize though that like, oh wait, no, like we're supposed to be here? Question mark? Like this like we're okay? This feels big. This feels really big.
Yeah, it's that moment of, okay, maybe this is less that we're being punished and more that our god is trying to show us something.
And if there's anything Azalin loves, it's suffering for a divine purpose. They are fucking into that shit.
They're good at it at the very least.
I think at some point during Ground itself, we established that, like, you know, the runners kind of just, like, went out into the world.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, maybe, like, somehow a runner got here, you know?
Totally.
Wherever here is geographically.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely baffled to come out here and be like, hey, wait a fucking minute. I know those eyes.
I'm torn between potentially attempt for Ne'erburn because of this. Because they've got their attention with these people right now to some extent, and then suddenly it's like, oh, we have claimed that our people were supposed to be here.
Yeah, I was thinking similar. I think Emily, I think you are so right. Because also like the idea of like these people showed up and now they're like claiming a bit of ownership over this thing that's right above our town. It can't feel good, right?
That was a roller coaster.
That was neat.
A classic Lex big swing. We love to see it.
That was such a sleeper hit discovery too. I think when Lex first said it, I was like, okay, where's the other shoe? And then I realized, oh wait, no, this changes everything. Your turn, Emily.
What?
The Ace of Spring.
I am the Ace of Spring. How did you know?
Oh hell yeah! What? This
Is it a good one,
You're
Ben?
gonna love it. Yeah, it's good. It's a good one. What group has the highest status in the community? What must people do to gain inclusion in this group? Or are there distinct family units in the community? If so, what family structures are common?
I think 7 years is enough time to establish a high status group among the Overtonians. Okay, so we know that it's just whoever was on the bridge. There was some warriors, a lot of gray folk, and some just poor people who happened to be on the bridge. I like to think that any soldiers, not in charge. This is not their bridge. But what would be the new group? The new group that's highest in charge on Overton, which is actually very divisive on the bridge itself, are those who are trying to maintain the structured status of Zalo so that they can kind of keep their home life traditions for a sense of belonging and comfort. So they're trying to keep that established structured life that they had, but adapt it to this new place, these new people, this new bridge.
Oh, I love that. Because the ramifications, those rituals and traditions were there for a very good reason. Oh my god.
Like, these are the people who are like, no, I'm sorry, you have to figure out how to like carve flowers out of sandstone because you can't not have flowers at your wedding.
Yeah, you still need flowers and rings.
Or find a fucking cactus that flowers. Sucks to suck. Otherwise, I'm not marrying you.
Did the weather based on emotions thing follow the bridge at all?
I would say no. I think that's a region thing, personally. But
Yeah, I think that's the valley.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
random thought.
Also, a lot of those traditions, they're there to help keep the curse in check. They don't know what could happen if they lose control. Even if they're already gray folk, there's still that balance you have to keep. And what happens if you lose it out here in the middle of the desert? Will the bridge just leave and abandon us here?
Oh, that's terrifying.
Which could be another reason why they're trying to uphold these traditions, because this bridge is from home. They know it from home. Well, we don't want to make it angry?
Fair. I mean, and also, it does track why the soldiers wouldn't be charged, because, like, violent people were shunned in Zalo because violence bad. And like, the Grey Folk were specifically like, no, you go hunt and do things that are not town-based, please.
That's great.
Which now pretty much sucks when you're in the desert.
What do you have to do to join this group?
Yep.
To be a part of it? Well, one, you have to be Overtonian. Or maybe there is a process that you can go to for the Ne'erburn to join, but I don't know that anyone would have really tried. They're a little too contempty for that right now.
I could definitely see that coming up in the future. Like, the first time an Overtonian and a Ne'erburner decide to get married, that's when shit's gonna get really weird culturally.
Like, you have to sit through the teachings of the elders to learn the ways and and pass their trials to make sure that you are doing this. After so long, if you screw up too badly, that's a strike against you, and so many failings, then it's just, I'm sorry, you can't.
Other thought that might get the same answer just if the weather thing. How much of the curse followed them with the bridge? In that, like, the brazen weren't a thing when they left, but the ability to become brazen is like.
My thought would be, they could technically still become brazen, but there aren't any of the weapons here, because
unless someone were to discover something new and they happen to find a brazen weapon.
Right.
Gee, you know what?
That'd be so weird. But the thing that I was about to say is the other part that was required for brazen things to happen was a war. And look what we have in the northwest corner.
Oh my god.
Things to think about.
Oh no.
You did let me establish glass swords in Sanctuary. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
Yep.
We are in the arc of Game Oven, that is Game Oven, Brass, and Glass.
I want to make that game. Thanks.
Yes.
Oh, also at the start of this, someone said bases and mountains. I'm like, I want to write that game.
Yep. All right. We adjust the die. The aqueduct is finished.
The aqueduct is finished.
Yay, water!
So we've got water.
We've got water. Water is now in abundance.
Can I put a little bit more on that?
Yeah. Put some stank on it.
Well, yeah. It's the water from the conch. Famously, it created those little like fish highways that traveled around the sanctuary, so the fish could get places. And so now, I think as it gets finished, they put sort of that like final stone in place, and then pull away the block that they're using to keep it up in the sanctuary itself. As this fills with water, the water from the conch goes into the well, and then all of a sudden it shoots straight up, and it bashes a hole through the bottom of the bridge and becomes this stable water source for the bridge itself, as well as creating those little rivulets, those fish highways that are suspended, 15 feet off the ground over the rest of Ne'erburn. That makes it very easy to transport. Like, you can swim through them, but it's weird. So, like, a lot of times people will you put something in a waterproof sack and you huck it up there, and then it bops over to the next of these little. I've drawn a little map of the main streams of it, along with spots where a number of them can join, and those would be other places where you can get up onto the bridge, or it would just kind of like get collected, fished out, and then distributed to the correct place.
I'm obsessed because we now have a bridge with a pond in it.
Yes.
With a fountain, it sounds like.
Yeah. You just made a Minecraft water elevator.
I forgot that Minecraft water elevators are a thing, but that's exactly what this is.
Oh God, yeah.
2 contempt, remove a contempt. Because cool, water, -1 contempt. The water blew a hole in the bridge, contempt. Also, there's a scorpion nest under that bridge that got just shot with water. For sure, contempt. Them scorpions angry and moist.
Oh, Angie and Moist. I want to write that game.
Oh, please do. I want to see what that's like.
I don't. Oh, that was oh my God, that was great. Okay, Emily, discover something new, hold a discussion, start a project.
I think I have to do my least favorite thing to ever do. I have to start a discussion.
Oh, no!
I'm bad at that.
Based.
Thank you for listening to Game Over, a collaborative storytelling collective building a world one game at a time. This week, as part of the Basberg Bridge arc, we are playing The Quiet Year by Avery Adler. If you like what we're doing, feel free to go and support us on patreon.com/GameOven or follow us on social media at GameOven.
Announcer voice. Here we are. There it is.